Hi there, how are you today? It's just like so crazy. Every time we open up social media, or any kind of media, we're just bombarded with the next thing that's going on. And if you, I kind of noticed it the other day because I was looking at my social media, and then I was just like, you kind of get like in it. And then 2 minutes later, I look up and I look around, I go, you know what? I'm safe. I've got this beautiful place I live in. And it's just like it pulls your energy in. And so it just kind of reminded me how important it is for us to pull our energy back out and to see around us and to be grateful for what we have. Ultimately, what's happening on the world stage in social media are all just a reflection of our collective consciousness. That means each one of us is a conscious being, and we have thoughts, emotions, higher levels of frequency, lower levels of frequency. Where our attention is put, that's where energy goes, and then the energy creates actions and reactions. So when one person's focused on the doom and gloom, and then you multiply that by millions, you can imagine the energy that's going towards that, and it's incredible. So what if we all pull back a little bit? It's not to, go like this, hear no evil, no evil. It's more a pulling back. It's a looking from a broader, higher perspective, recognizing that things that are happening may affect you one way or the other, but ultimately, as this conscious sovereign being, you have the ability to really direct the course of your life. I'll give you one example is the tariffs. There's been so much talk about the Canadian US tariff war and everything like that. And it's like so much energy directed at that. And I think back, and I'm old enough to remember when the free trade agreement was being discussed back in the late 80s. And so the NAFTA first came out in the early 90s. I was in university studying MBA. So you can imagine my perspective, and my classmates were very more conservative at the time. And so we had tariffs before forever. The idea of getting rid of the tariffs was as crazy then as it is now when we're talking about putting tariffs in. There was so much talking about it, yelling about it. I remember my parents, who were liberals, they thought I was like the devil incarnate just thinking about having free trade. And I remember that somebody from the wine industry in Niagara on the Lake came into our university class and started talking about how the wine industry in Canada was going to completely die because of removing tariffs, removing the protection that they had. And I remember my teacher saying, no, that's not the case, because it's going to make it'll either they will crash a certain part of an economy, a certain industry, or that industry has the opportunity with competition to become greater and greater. So all to say that these cycles have happened. When we look at the wine industry in Canada, it grew out of free trade. It actually, without the protection, it had to find its own uniqueness. So you're saying, like, why are you talking about free trade when we're actually going the opposite way? My point is, we get so hung up on these ideas, and most people don't even know exactly what free trade means or tariffs really mean. They just hear it. They hear the buzzwords and over and over and over. And so it's like this, and then we get so caught up in it. So my point is, what if we could just step back a bit and just kind of watch it? If free trade, is part of one of the many, many cycles that come and go, tariffs grow, we become protectionist, a country becomes less competitive, and then we loosen the tariffs and we, have more free trade, but we have less sovereignty. There's just constantly an ebb and flow. So can we just not get so hung up? Tomorrow, our life is not going to end if tariffs come into to Canada, and so it's the same with everything that's happening right now. And if it's not tariffs, it's another thing, and it's another thing. So just check in with your nervous system. Are you like this, reacting online, feeling it, going like this? Are you really peaceful? What do you think really helps your body? More of that peacefulness, the calmness. And if your body is in a better state, your mind is in a better state, your heart's in a better state, imagine the impact on your life. And if not, and you're constantly reacting, I just give you an invitation to kind of think about, step back, recognize these are ebbs and flows. 30 years ago, the worst thing that ever could have happened to Canada, according to the media, was that we would lift tariffs. Today, the worst thing that could ever happen to Canada is installing tariffs. So, when you're old enough to remember these ebbs and flows, you start to realize, and that's why a lot of older people are like, whatever, I'm not going to get into all of the war against. What is this war against right now? So just an invitation for you to really check in with yourself and to find the peace in this chaos, because this chaos is going to continue because it's a dismantling of the old in order to create new. Do we want more nationalism? Do we want more globalism? Can we see, for example, there's some benefits from nationalism and there's some benefits from globalism. It's not one or the other, and we can pull it together. That's that holistic perspective. And for you to really be, what is my authentic self? What does authentic living look like for me? Living in my heart's desire, the type of work that I want to do, and the type of relationships, the health that I want for myself, the abundance I want. Are you living your most authentic self? When you can do that in more alignment, and more people do that, we will see the world change around us very, very quickly. Just some thoughts for today. Hope that helps, inspires, gives you some peace. Put some comments down below if you're interested. And if you'd like to learn more, I have a new mentorship program called Living Your Authentic Self, and look forward to talking to you more about it. Namaste.